Condensed milk is a sweet and creamy ingredient widely used in cooking, especially in confectionery. It is made by evaporating part of the water from milk and adding large amounts of sugar. This high sugar content not only contributes to the flavor, but also prevents the growth of microorganisms, acting as a natural preservative. Condensed milk arrived in Brazil in the 19th century and became popular due to its practicality in a time when refrigeration was limited. Today, Brazil is the second largest producer of this milk derivative in the world, manufacturing over 650,000 tons of condensed milk per year. Brazilians have created many iconic sweets with it, such as brigadeiro and beijinho. It's estimated that condensed milk is present in 90% of Brazilian households, showing its popularity and importance in national cuisine. The per capita consumption is also significant, with each Brazilian consuming an average of 6.4 kilograms per year. But how is condensed milk made? In today's video, we'll explore the amazing manufacturing process of this thick, sweet, and creamy liquid that can be used in desserts, beverages, and other culinary preparations, from fresh milk collection to final packaging. I'm Viter, and you're watching TUD Tech HD. Leave a like, subscribe, and turn on the bell for all notifications. Condensed milk was created out of necessity as a practical solution to preserve milk for longer without refrigeration at a time when this was a major challenge. It was invented by Gail Borden, an American newspaper editor and inventor. Borden had the idea of creating a concentrated and long-lasting version of milk after a sea voyage during which he witnessed children suffering due to a lack of fresh milk. He realized that available milk spoiled quickly and looked for a way to preserve it. His invention involved removing a large part of the water from milk, creating a thick, long-lasting version. Borden patented his invention in 1856 in the USA. It gained popularity during the American Civil War, as it was included in soldiers' rations, being a concentrated, easy-to-transport energy source. After the war, returning soldiers continued to consume it, making it popular among American families. The production of condensed milk starts at dairy farms. In the USA alone, there are over 60,000 dairy farms, raising more than 9 million cows. In recent decades, the milking process has become highly mechanized, using modern equipment to maximize efficiency and ensure animal welfare. While manual milking allows up to 6 cows per hour per worker, mechanized milking can handle more than 70 cows. On large farms, cows are led to milking parlors or rotary carousels. The equipment is cleaned before each use to prevent contamination. The cow's udders are sanitized with specific iodine or chlorine-based solutions. Suction cups, called milking heads, are attached to the teats, and the machine simulates natural nursing with controlled suction. Sensors monitor milk flow and stop the machine when milking is complete to avoid discomfort. The milk is immediately sent to refrigerated tanks kept between 2 and 4 degrees Celsius, preventing bacterial growth and maintaining quality. Tanker trucks with cooling systems transport the milk. Samples may be tested on-site for acidity, odor, and appearance. During collection, quick tests ensure compliance with standards, including temperature and antibiotic residue. Generally, milk batches from different farms are not mixed in the same truck for traceability and quality control. At the factory, the milk is unloaded into sterilized storage tanks, and several tests are conducted to check for unauthorized additives, antibiotics, pesticides, or harmful microorganisms. If everything is in order, sterilized hoses connect the truck to the factory's intake system. Large companies like Nestlé California have storage capacities of up to 2.8 million liters, enough to produce more than 20 million cans of condensed milk. Next, The milk is filtered and held in monitored tanks before going to processing lines. Since the milk is still raw and high in fat, it goes through centrifugal separators to standardize fat content. The spinning drum separates skimmed milk and cream, which are removed through separate exits. For condensed milk, fat content is adjusted to 6 to 10%, depending on the product. With the fat level set, the milk undergoes pasteurization, heating between 72 to 75 degrees Celsius for 15 seconds, then rapidly cooling to 4 degrees Celsius. This step kills pathogenic microorganisms, increasing shelf life and keeping flavor. Pasteurization was developed by French scientist Louis Pasteur in 1864, later adapted for milk, reducing diseases like tuberculosis and brucellosis. So, how is condensed milk actually made? After pasteurization, a large amount of sugar is added, usually around 45% of the final product. Sugar acts as a natural preservative, reducing water activity and
each year, up to 6 million tons of Cheetos are consumed around the world. This crispy snack, popular worldwide, is produced by PepsiCo through its Frito-Lay division. To meet the enormous global demand, extruder machines operate 24 hours a day, creating up to 5,000 Cheetos per minute. They are made from expanded corn dough and produced in different shapes and flavors. But have you ever wondered how these snacks are made in factories? In today's video, we'll visit some industries to discover how one of the world's most popular snacks is produced. Stay with me until the end. I'm Viter, and you're watching Tutotech HD. Please click like, subscribe, and activate the notification bell. Cheetos' story began in 1948, when Charles Elmer Doolin, founder of the Frito Company, created a crunchy corn snack covered in cheese. He was inspired by corn extrusion technology, which was already used to produce animal feed. Doolin used an extruder machine that heated and expanded corn dough under high pressure, forming crunchy pieces. He modified the recipe by adjusting the corn flour and moisture to create a lighter, tastier texture. Then he fried the pieces and tested flavors. He coated the snacks with cheddar cheese seasoning, creating the iconic Cheetos flavor. The product was an immediate success and was soon distributed across the United States. In 1961, Frito Company merged with H.W. Lay & Company to form Frito-Lay. Just 4 years later, it was acquired by PepsiCo, making Cheetos a global product. Today, Frito-Lay offers more than 120 different flavors and produces around 4 million bags of Cheetos per day, 18 tons every hour, nearly 1.5 billion bags a year. To produce such a large quantity, thousands of tons of corn are needed. The process starts in the field with the harvest of corn. This type of corn has a high starch content, ideal for the texture needed in the extrusion process. Corn is harvested when the kernels are fully mature and dry, with moisture below 15%, which makes them ideal for milling and extrusion. The harvest is done using self-propelled harvesters with corn platforms and row dividers to guide plants into the machine. The harvester cuts the base of the plants below the ears, which are transported to a threshing cylinder that separates the kernels from the cobs using friction and impact. The cobs and other debris are discarded in the field. The kernels pass through a system of screens and fans that remove husks, dust, and impurities. They are then discharged into grain trucks through a discharge tube and sent to processing plants to be milled and prepared for Cheetos production. 2 types of cornmeal are used: fine cornmeal, fubá, and coarser grits. The flour's texture is crucial to ensure ideal expansion during extrusion. The mixture is sent to Frito-Lay factories worldwide and stored in large silos or half-ton sacks. The corn flour is the main ingredient. From the silos, It's transferred via stainless steel pipes using suction to the production room, where it goes into industrial mixers. Controlled amounts of water, salts, and stabilizers are added. The ingredients are mixed into a moist, homogeneous dough and sent to the extruder. The water content is critical. Too much water makes the dough sticky. Too little makes it brittle and hard to extrude. Inside the extruder, the dough is heated and compressed. The screw cylinders push it toward the mold, where it passes through special holes that give the snack its shape. At this point, the high-pressure, high-temperature dough meets open air and expands rapidly. That's what makes Cheetos light, airy, and crispy. A rotating blade cuts the dough at high speed to define the final size. The snacks come out soft and moist and are carried on a continuous belt to a high-temperature industrial oven where they are baked. Hot air circulates to ensure even baking. This process lasts only 5 seconds. The heat causes internal moisture to evaporate quickly, adding extra expansion and making the Cheetos crunchier. After baking, the snacks are hot and fragile. They pass through cooling belts, which gradually lower their temperature. At this stage, the Cheetos are golden, crispy, but they still lack their iconic flavor. The special seasoning gives them their cheesy taste, color, and final texture. The classic cheese flavor is a dry blend of powdered cheddar cheese, whey, salt, flavor enhancers, and natural or artificial colorings. This powder is automatically dosed and sprayed through nozzles inside a flavor drum, a tilted cylinder that rotates slowly to mix the snacks without breaking them. Before seasoning, a thin layer of vegetable oil or an adhesive liquid, like a water and starch solution, is sprayed to help the seasoning stick. This is the famous Cheetos dust that leaves your fingers orange. After seasoning, the Cheetos go to automated. Every day, large industries produce tomato sauce, a versatile ingredient used in cooking to add flavor, moisture, and texture to various dishes such as pizzas, pasta, meats, stews, and risottos. It also serves as a base for sauces like ketchup and barbecue. To produce this sauce monthly, giant specialized harvesters collect millions of fresh tomatoes from the fields daily. But have you ever wondered how tomato sauce is made in factories on a large scale? In today's video, we will see the amazing process of producing this sauce, one of the most popular in the world, from tomato harvesting to processing and packaging in cans, glass jars, and more. Stay with me until the end. I'm Veter, and you're watching Tudo Tech HD. Please leave a like, subscribe, and activate the notification bell. Although many consider it a vegetable, the tomato is botanically a fruit. It is usually planted from seedlings grown in nurseries, in trays with the right substrate, and kept in greenhouses until they reach a certain size. The most efficient transplanting to the field is done mechanically. The tomato cycle varies by variety, and then the harvest season begins. Global tomato production is high, with China leading, followed by India, Turkey, and the United States. Brazil also plays a role, producing millions of tons per year. A significant portion of the world's tomato crop is destined for industrial processing to make sauces, pastes, and pulps. Tomatoes must be harvested at the right time to ensure quality, flavor, and shelf life. 2 to 3 weeks before harvesting, irrigation is stopped so the pulp concentrates, making the fruit denser and meatier. For sauce production, tomatoes are harvested when most of the fruits on the plant are ripe and uniformly red. Technology has transformed tomato farming, with harvesters acting like mobile factories. The machines collect tomatoes from the plants, separating them from stems, leaves, and debris. Conveyor belts move the tomatoes through a selection system, where cameras and sensors analyze their color and quality. A software program removes the unsuitable tomatoes using mechanical arms, and only the best ones move on to storage. These tomatoes are then transported to processing plants, where trucks unload them using water to float them out of the trailers. In the factory, the tomatoes are placed in large water tanks to remove surface dirt, dust, field debris, and insects. This immersion also prevents damage during the early stages. Some factories use air bubbles in the water to assist in cleaning. The tomatoes are then washed with pressurized water jets to remove more stubborn dirt. After this, they go through another classification step using optical sensors and vision systems that detect defects and separate the fruit accordingly. Even after this, workers manually inspect the tomatoes for any issues the machines might have missed. Clean and selected, the tomatoes go to the cooking process. There are different methods depending on the product: steam cooking for whole or cubed tomatoes, cooking in tanks for sauces and pastes, and vacuum cooking at lower temperatures to preserve color and nutrition. After cooking, a peeling machine removes the skin, leaving the pulp intact. This step also helps soften the fruit, eliminate bacteria, and concentrate the flavor. The peeled tomatoes are sorted and inspected again to remove any remaining impurities. Meanwhile, empty cans arrive at the plant and are prepared for filling. Some tomatoes are packaged whole, while others are crushed into puree using special blades. The puree is filtered to remove seeds and skins, resulting in a smooth sauce. This also helps maintain flavor and reduce acidity. The puree is then cooked in large stainless steel tanks, stirred constantly to avoid burning. During this phase, ingredients like oil, garlic, onion, salt, and spices are added. After cooking and cooling, the sauce is stored in sterile tanks, waiting to be packaged. Packaging is done using high-speed conveyor belts and machines that fill containers accurately. Some machines can fill hundreds of bottles per minute. After filling, the packages are sealed automatically and pasteurized with steam to ensure safety. They are then cooled to preserve taste and texture. This method extends shelf life without using artificial preservatives. Finally, the products are labeled, grouped, and packaged for shipment. And that's how tomato sauce is produced on a large scale around the world. If you liked the video, please like and share it with your friends. Leave a comment telling us where you're watching from and what you thought. Subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to never miss a new video. Thank you for staying with me until the end. May God bless you and your home, and may you always be well. Sugar is a natural sweetener extracted mainly from sugarcane and sugar beet. It is made up of sucrose crystals, a type of carbohydrate that naturally occurs in various plants and is widely used to sweeten foods and drinks. Currently, nearly 180 million tons of sugar are consumed around the world every year. Producing such a large quantity of this product is a complex task involving several steps. But have you ever wondered how sugar is made? In today's video, we'll visit some sugar mills to show you the incredible process of manufacturing this food, which is one of the most common ingredients in our daily diet. Stay with me until the end. I'm Vider, and you're watching Tutotech HD. I ask that you leave a like, subscribe, and activate the bell for all notifications. Sugar originated in India, where sugarcane had already been cultivated for over 2,500 years. It was there that the technique of solidifying the juice extracted from the cane into granulated crystals was developed. Around the 6th century, during Islamic expansion, the Arabs spread sugarcane cultivation throughout the Middle East, North Africa, and Southern Europe. During the great navigations of the 15th and 16th centuries, the Spanish and Portuguese took sugarcane to the Atlantic islands and then to the Americas. In colonial Brazil, sugar became the main export product starting in the 16th century. Production was based on plantations, sugar mills, and the intensive use of enslaved labor, marking a painful chapter in sugar's history. With the Industrial Revolution in the 19th century, more efficient machinery was introduced for extracting and refining cane juice, making sugar more accessible. Also during this time, sugar beet began to be cultivated and used mainly in Europe, especially after the continental blockade imposed by Napoleon, which cut off Europe's access to cane sugar produced in the Caribbean. In the 20th century, as production grew, sugar ceased to be a luxury item and became a staple of global diets. Over time, debates emerged about the health impacts of excessive sugar consumption, such as obesity, diabetes, and cavities, which led to the popularity of alternative sweeteners and less processed versions of sugar, like demerara and muscovado. About 80% of all sugar produced worldwide comes from sugarcane, which is cultivated in tropical and subtropical regions. Brazil is the world's largest producer of sugarcane, with around 720 million tons per year, followed by India, China, Thailand, and Pakistan. Sugarcane naturally produces sucrose through photosynthesis, a biochemical process that occurs in its leaves. The plant converts sunlight into simple sugars, which are then transformed into sucrose and stored in large quantities in the stalk, known as the cane stem. After being planted, sugarcane takes 12 to 18 months to be ready for its first harvest. This variation depends on the climate, the variety of cane, and soil conditions. In the final month, the cane reaches its full height and begins to accumulate sugar in the stem. This period defines the quality of the juice. The more sunlight and balanced water the plant receives, the greater the sucrose production. Cane can accumulate up to 20% of its weight in sucrose. Its harvest is done by specialized machines that harvest, cut, and clean the cane stalks in real time, leaving the stalks cut to about 20 centimeters in length. The machine has feed rollers at the front that guide the vertical cane into the machine. Rotating cutting discs cut the cane close to the ground. Music. Every year, more than 2.3 billion cans of Pringles are manufactured and sold around the world, generating over $3 billion in revenue. To meet this enormous demand, thousands of tons of potatoes must be harvested and processed every day. But have you ever wondered how Pringles are made and how all the chips are exactly the same size and shape? Unlike traditional potato chips, Pringles are not made from whole potato slices, but from a dough that is carefully prepared and molded. In today's video, we'll visit some factories to discover how Pringles are made, from processing the raw materials to the final packaging. We'll also explore the history and curiosities of these chips, which are among the most famous snacks on the planet. Stay with me until the end. I'm Vitter, and you're watching Tudo Tech HD. I ask that you please leave a like, subscribe, and activate the bell for all notifications. The story of Pringles begins in the 1960s, when the company Procter & Gamble hired chemist Frederick Bauer to solve common complaints from consumers of traditional potato chips, which often came broken and greasy. The goal was to create a new type of chip that would be uniform in size, wouldn't break during transport, would be less greasy by absorbing less oil during frying, and could be stacked. In 1965, Frederick Bauer created the iconic chip shape and its cylindrical packaging. The big idea was not to use sliced and fried potatoes, as had always been done, but to create a potato dough made from a type of puree using dehydrated potato flakes and other ingredients. The result was a true innovation, a thin, crispy, flavorful potato chip that could be perfectly stacked. Its characteristic shape, known as a hyperbolic paraboloid, is similar to a saddle. Besides allowing perfect stacking, this curved design helps prevent the chips from breaking when stacked. But this shape would be fragile if the chips were packed in traditional plastic bags. So Bauer decided to create packaging that would not only protect the chips during transport, but also keep them fresh for longer. Thus, the iconic cylindrical Pringles tube was born. Pringles were only launched in 1968 and became an immediate success. People loved their shape and unique taste. In a short time, Pringles became one of the most popular potato chip brands in the world, sold in over 100 countries with more than 100 different flavors. Currently, over 6 million cans of Pringles are made every day, equivalent to 73 cans per second. It's estimated that about 10 million individual chips are produced daily in factories. But unlike other chips made from sliced potatoes, Pringles are made with about 42% potato flakes, along with ingredients like rice flour and corn starch. The entire process begins in the field with the potato harvest. When the season arrives, large specialized machines come into action. These giant harvesters, capable of collecting up to 7 tons, are equipped with discs that loosen the soil while blades cut the stems and gather the potatoes along with soil, stones, and roots. The potatoes travel on vibrating conveyors that act like large sieves, removing soil and small stones without damaging the tubers. The cleaned potatoes are directed to a storage tank with an automated side discharge. Once the tank is full, the potatoes are transferred to trucks headed straight to the factories that will produce the Pringles potato flakes. Production begins with large batches of fresh potatoes that undergo an impressive transformation. Upon arrival at the factory, the potatoes are unloaded and transported via belts to the cleaning station. They are submerged in tanks, where a high-pressure system stirs the water to remove all dirt and debris. After cleaning, the potatoes move to the peeling area. To remove the skins, they fall into large drums with a rough surface like coarse sandpaper. As the potatoes bounce and spin, the abrasive texture carefully removes the skins, preparing them for the next production step. Trained workers inspect the batches and remove any spoiled or damaged potatoes. The approved potatoes travel on belts to the cutting station, but before cutting, they are briefly dipped in hot water. This hot bath serves 2 purposes: to soften the potatoes for easier cutting and to deactivate enzymes that could affect the color and flavor. The potatoes are automatically cut in high-speed rotating cylinders. Inside the cylinders are multiple sharp blades. Centrifugal force pushes the potatoes toward the blades, cutting them into strips and then into cubes in under 1 second. The pieces move along conveyor belts to the second cooking stage, where they are steamed for 15 minutes at 110 degrees Celsius. The process stops once the starch reaches full gelatinization, the point at which the potato softens and the starch absorbs water, forming a gel. At this stage, the potatoes are mashed into a smooth, uniform,